Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. Now I know I usually don't do IRL videos like this, but I decided to do one to honor the great Alan White, who recently passed. Rest in peace. And so I'm gonna rank all the Yes albums. Now my ranking is not gonna be the same as yours, and so don't be mad if your favorite Yes album is all the way in the bottom. But without further ado, let's get started. And so we're starting with their worst album and their latest album, The Quest. Now, The Quest at number 22. And this isn't a bad album. It's still good. It has good songs on it. Like, The Ice Bridge is a great opener. Leave Well Alone is pretty good too. And A Living Island, and Mystery Tour are pretty good too. But besides that, it's kind of, I don't know, it feels very, like, formulaic in terms of the fact that I feel like they kind of just copied Heaven and Earth. They just kind of, like, copy-pasted it, boom, and so I don't think it's that good. Anyway, the next album at number 21 is Keys to Ascension 1. I'm counting them as two different, but I'm only looking at the studio songs. And since there's only two studio songs on here, you might think, oh, why won't you just include that with the other Keys to Ascension? But let's not forget that Relayer and Close to the Edge are both 3 songs, and we're still counting those as individual albums. So, and this album, again, is not bad. The live stuff is pretty good, but I'm only looking at the studio version. Studio versions are pretty good. Be the One is pretty good, and it's really good. It's a nice song. I think it goes on a bit too long, but it has some nice hooks and great playing. Now, next at number 20 is Fly From Here. Yes, I have this vinyl, and for every time I have a CD/vinyl that I have Yes, I'm going to show it up with the album. So, Fly From Here. This is the return trip version. I like the return trip version more. If we were to go off of the original, it would probably be below Keys 1, but probably still above The Quest. But this album is kind of only here because Fly From Here, the Suite, is very, very good. I love this song. It's really good, and you know, people get reminded of the old Yes from it. They wrote it when they were still the old Yes in 1980 during the drama era, and even it's on part of it. Sad Night at the Airfield and We Can Fly are on the Buggles' second album or something. I don't know. It's on one of their albums. They released it somehow. I don't remember how. Maybe it's a single, maybe it's on an album. I don't know. But anyways, this album is still great. Just not the best. Now, number 19. Oh, boy. Here we go. Number 19 is Relayer. I'm not joking. Relayer. Man, I'm gonna get so much hate for this. Relayer. Not bad. It's not a bad album. But it's also not great. Gates of Delirium. Many people consider it to be one of the best Yes songs. I consider it to be just okay. It's pretty good. It has some great moments, and Soon is a great way to end it. But overall, I say it's nothing compared to their greatest works of Close to the Edge or Fragile or Yes album. Second, Sound Chaser, I actually quite like. It's kind of all over the place, but it's okay. I like it. I'll listen to it every now and then, and I'll enjoy it. And finally, To Be Over it's okay. It's kind of, I don't know. I kind of find it to be a bit boring for me, personally. Now, I know of some pretty diehard Yes fans that are probably watching this video right now and screaming at me for putting this at 19 when it should be a number 1 for them, in their opinion. This is my opinion. But anyway, let's move on to number 18, Heaven and Earth. Yes, I did get the CD for this one, and I quite enjoy it, actually. I hadn't listened to it in a while, and I listened to it in preparation for this, and I was very surprised on how good some of these songs were. It starts off all these songs are good, but it starts off, the first 4 songs are okay. They're not, I won't return to them as much, but they're pretty good. But from In a World of Our Own to the end of the album, it's great. In a World of Our Own, it's great. Light of the Ages is cool. It Was All We Knew is also pretty good. And Subway Walls, man, that is a good song. This is surprising because of how good this is. They hadn't released a Yes album. I mean, they released Fly From Here, the original, in 2011. But besides that, they hadn't released a Yes album since Magnification in 2001. And this was also the first album with John Davison. And I think he does a great job on this album. So yeah, both John Davison albums down here, but they're both still good, and I like this one a lot. Let's go to the next one, and number 17 is Open Your Eyes. Open Your Eyes. It's a pretty good album. It's the first with Billy Sherwood, and you can definitely tell he definitely feel like he has a bit more creative control over this album than his other albums with the band. Feels like he's a lot more at the helm when it comes to how the music is composed. But this album still has some great songs like New State of Mind, Open Your Eyes, the title track. Fortune Seller is pretty cool, and it's probably the most prog song on this album. Man in the Moon gets a lot of flack, and I really don't know why, because it's a really cool song. And also The Solution, Without the Source. The Solution is pretty great. Love Shine also, I want to mention, has one of the funniest Yes lyrics, in my opinion. I won't sleep again until I sleep again with you. Man, that's deep. Anyway, let's go to 16, which is Union. I got this one on CD as well, and I quite like it. It's a pretty good album. This one I hadn't listened to for a while, and I re-listened to it in preparation, and a lot of these songs do work, and they're great. A lot of the problem is that there's just too many songs on this album, and that definitely shows. There's 14 songs in this album, when there really only used to be about 10. Some of these songs could be cut, like Masquerade, Anchor Watt, Evensong. Those songs could have probably been cut out. But I like most of the album. I Would Have Waited Forever is a pretty nice way to open. Shock to the System is really cool. Lift Me Up, of course, is the single. I recently found a music video for that song, and I didn't know they made a music video for that song, and it's pretty funny how they have at one point where on Lift Me Up, at the chorus, they have all 8 members of Union singing it. When I know that's not what they did in the actual song, but that's what it shows in the music video. Anyway, Without Hope You Cannot Start the Day is pretty cool. Saving My Heart, it's more Trevor Rabin, so I love it. Miracle of Life is pretty cool. Silent Talking is okay. More We Live, Let Go. I think this song had Billy Sherwood on it. Anchor Wise, okay. Dangerous, Look in the Light of What You're Searching For. It's pretty fun. Holding On, you get the point. I could go through the song for song, but I'd rather not. Anyway, the next one at number 15 is Tormato. I also have this one on CD. This one was definitely a change, pretty abrupt change from the Goliath of Going for the One, which was amazing. And we'll get to that later in the video. But I like it. It's a great album and has some great songs. Future Time / Rejoice is pretty cool. Don't Kill the Whale, of course. Release is really good. And the finale on the Silent Wings of Freedom is probably one of the best Chris Squire performances that he's ever done. Which, that's surprising considering how much greatness he's done. But this album has a lot of great Chris Squire moments. And also, the whole album works. And it works. Circus of Heaven and Onward and Madrigal are fine, I guess. Circus of Heaven is pretty funny. But yeah, it's a pretty good album. Let's move on to the next one, number 14. I keep not saying the numbers. we got The Ladder. Got this one on CD as well, because I'm surprised that this is the second album with Billy Sherwood, and you would think after Open Your Eyes, they would kind of do an Open Your Eyes 2 with this. No, this seems very much like a John Anderson-y album. Billy Sherwood is definitely still on this, along with Igor Koroshev. I probably butchered that name. This is the last album with Igor, and I think Igor, I don't know if it's Igor, did a great job with keyboards on this album. He's a great keyboardist, and honestly, it's a shame he had to leave. I know why, and it's a good reason that they fired him, but whatever. Not the place to be talking about that. It also has probably the most ridiculous Yes song of Can I, which is almost just entirely of gibberish. But yeah, Homeworld The Ladder is very, very good, and I love it a lot. Lightning Strikes is pretty fun. You can tell they're definitely going for a more electronic approach with this album. There's more electronic drums on it than even like Union. And Face to Face, finally, The Messenger, New Language, they're all great. And Nine Voices is a great opener, and yeah. I mean, closer, not opener. So yeah, great album. Great time, great lineup. Also, great live album that came out off of that tour. Next one, we got Keys to Ascension 2. I do not have it on vinyl or CD. This one is way better than Keys 1 because, it has more songs, but those songs are better. Mind Drive. Man, that is a good song. Footprints is a great song, too. It's a great groove. Bring Me to the Power is a great song. And Children of Light I also really like. The last 3 minutes of Children of Light is great. Yeah, this album's great and everything works about it. Sign Language is okay. I don't really listen to it that much. I just kind of think of it as an afterthought. I usually stop at listening to it after Children of Light is ended, but I like it. I like this album a lot, and it's great. And number 12, we have Big Generator. No, I do not have this one on CD or vinyl. And this one is, again, it's a Trevor Rabin album. The lowest Trevor Rabin album if we don't count Union. Union had a few Trevor Rabin songs on it. Trevor Rabin era songs on it. But Big Generator is really good. I've slept on it for quite a while because, I don't know, I just kind of thought, after 90125, Big Generator wasn't so good. But, it's still pretty good, and I enjoy it. And, yeah, Big Generator has pretty much every song on here works. There's Rhythm of Love, great opener. There's Big Generator, which is a great rocker. Shoot I Am Low is probably my favorite off of the album. It's great. Almost Like Love, I love hearing that fill that opens the song. Love Will Find a Way, people say is too poppy. They say that about pretty much all of Trevor Rabin's albums with Yes. But I don't mind it. I think it's still pretty cool and fun. Finalize is pretty good. I'm Running, probably the most prog song on this album, and it's great. And also, Holy Lamb is a fine way to open. Close. Next album is the debut from 1969. This is the deluxe edition, so there's the extra stuff of Every Days, Dear Father, and Something's Coming. And it's on both sides. But yeah, this is a great album, and it definitely shows that, and it's definitely, of course, in their jazzier era, which I'm fine with it. I like it. A lot of these songs work on this album. Like Beyond and Before is a great. It's a great opener and really shows what Yes will be on this album, and kind of Time in a Word as well. I See You was great. There's also Yesterday and Today is fine. I don't really listen to it that much. Same with Harold Land. Sweetness is pretty cool. It's pretty words, English is hard. Survival, Every Little Thing, Looking Around, I See You. Those 4 songs are awesome, and I listen to them a lot. And they're really Yes classics, in my opinion. This album is Survival, of course, is definitely a Yes classic. And this album should get talked about more. Definitely a bit underrated, in my opinion. Next up on the list, we got Tales from Topographic Oceans. Yeah, people I don't have a CD for it. Yeah, people are probably going to be like, oh, why did you have Topographic Oceans? Why is it should be number 1? It's the greatest album of all time. No. It's not. I'm sorry. It's just not. I just don't agree. Like, Revealing Signs of God is great. I love it. Remembering is kind of boring for the start, but it gets pretty good as it goes on. The Ancient is definitely the weirdest song on the album, but I still like it. And Ritual is a great song, but I definitely wouldn't consider any of them, besides maybe Revealing Signs of God, to be in one of the top Yes songs. That's all I really have to say about it. It's a great album, has great songs. It's definitely a bold move to do after Close to the masterpiece of Close to the Edge, of going, you know what, we're gonna make a double album with 4 songs on it, 1 song on each side. That can sometimes go horribly. This time it did not go horribly, and it went well. Next up at number 9, we have Time and a Word. I don't have the other album cover. I just saw this and thought, hey, yeah, this album cover is famous because it has Steve Howe right there when he isn't even on this album. Peter Banks had already left, but they needed another album cover because they weren't buying the other album cover that they made. So they just took this picture, and Steve Howe had already joined, and they didn't have any guitar. Peter Banks still, so they just had to put Steve Howe there and hope no one would notice. People noticed. Okay, so this one is great. This is like a better version of the debut, and I know the debut is great, but this one's even greater. No opportunity necessary, no experience needed. Although it's a cover, I think something that Yes does super well is covers. A lot of bands like the Beatles, you see an album with like a few covers on it, and you're like, oh, really? And they're usually the worst songs on the album. With Yes, they're great. Their covers are amazing. Like their cover of I See You and their cover of Every Little Thing on the debut. And on here you got No Opportunity Necessary and Every Days, which are covers as well. I think that's all the covers on this. Yeah, that are covers as well. And also later on as a single, America, which is a great song. But yeah, this album is very good, and every song on here, besides Clear Days, is great, and I loved it. I mean, that's such a good song, and people need to talk about this album more. This needs to go down as one of the classics of Yes, and for some reason it doesn't, because it's followed up by such great albums as the Yes album, Fragile and Close to the Edge, coming right after it. And so this one kind of got lost in the early period. This one usually gets roped in with the first album as their jazzier or weird era where they didn't know what they were doing and they didn't really find their sound. This is them finding it. They found their sound on this album, but they just didn't fully use it to the point on the Yes album. This album, in my opinion, is closer to the Yes album than the first album. Anyway, let's move on. Next, on number 7, we have Going for the One. This is a great album, and it all really comes down to one song on this album that really elevates it. Just like Fly From Here, Awaken. Man, Awaken is probably my favorite Yes song ever. Yes, even more than Close to the Edge. I don't know, there's just something. There's still a price tag on it. There's just something amazing about that song, and I love it so much. It makes me, it just brightens my day every time I listen to that song. And the rest of the songs on this album are great too. Parallels, I love that song. Parallels is a great song with a great organ. Seeing a lot more organ on this album, like on Parallels and Awaken. More grander pianos and grander organs, which I like. Going for the One is great. Turn of the Century, written by Alan White. It's great. Turn of the Century is not so great. It gets a bit boring in my opinion. It's 8 minutes long. And Wondrous Stories, I love this song and I will return to it a lot. This is a great album and the last really great Prog album that they made. They made other great albums later on, which we haven't got to, which we'll get to in a second. But that was the last great album, the last great album of the 70s. And at number 7, we have 90125. I don't have the vinyl or CD, but I do have the shirt. Yeah, this was a pretty stark change from Drama, but in my opinion, this is great. I love this album. Almost every song on here works. There's Owner of Only Heart. It's actually grown on me, and it's actually really good, and I like it. Hold On is amazing. It Can Happen is great. Changes is amazing. Cinema is okay. Probably the worst on the album. Leave It is pretty good. Our Song is pretty cool. But the last two songs, City of Love and Hearts, man, those are great songs. And really makes you wonder, why did they call 90125 pop? I mean, sure, they have the Owner of Only Hearts kind of poppy in its nature, but I mean, maybe most of these songs are structurally poppy, but the music is not. The music is like the heaviest music that they've made. Besides one exception, and Drama at number 6. So yes, that was like that transition. Number 6 is Drama, and it's a great album. I've listened to it a lot. It's probably one of my most listened to Yes albums. It has, of course, Trevor Horn and Jeff Downes on it. But I didn't even notice that they were the ones on this album until years after hearing it. So that just goes to show how good Trevor Horn's voice is and how much it fits. And man, this is pretty much their heaviest album. Machine Messiah doesn't really happen. This is a heavy album. And it's probably the first real poppy album. Tornado was poppy, but it was poppy in the sense that it was less simple and wasn't using poppy production. This is the first time they used poppy production, which on songs like Run Through the Light, with the snare being so hard, heavy hitting, which would be a staple in Trevor Horn's producing throughout the Trevor Rabin years and even after that. But yeah, Machine Messiah, Into the Lens, It Doesn't Really Happen, Tempest Fugit. These 4 songs are absolutely amazing. And I love this album so much. And this would be really high on my list if this wasn't Yes. But because this is Yes, this is going all the way down at 6. Not even making the top 5. So, at number 5, we got it right here. Fragile. Yes, probably their most popular album outside of 90125 and possibly Close to the Edge. But this album is great. But the reason I put it this low, because I feel like most people would put this in their top 3, the reason I didn't is because I feel that the songs that are like, basically the concept of this album is each band member made one song on this album, and that was just their own, and then they came together with 4 great songs, which were Roundabout, Heart of the Sunrise, South Side of the Sky, and Long Distance Runaround. South Side of the Sky being my favorite off this album. I love that song so much. And Heart of the Sunrise is great. Roundabout has been played a bit too many times, but I still love it, and a Long Distance Runaround is great too. But the other songs on this album, outside of... Hey, where's the track list here? Cans and Brahms, I don't really care for that much. We Have Heaven is okay. It's a nice little song. to open us up to Southside the Sky. But besides that, it doesn't really do anything. 5% for Nothing is still great. It's really cool, and it has some really technical drumming. I, being a drummer, wouldn't know that. Although I never actually tried to play this song on drums. I should do that. The Fish is the best one out of these. The Fish is a really good song, and I love it. It's great. And then there's Mood for a Day from How, which is pretty good, but it's... So yeah, I think this album gets too much credit without too much thought, because you think of the 4 songs on this album that are great, but then you think of the other half of this album that isn't great. And you need to look at both sides. Anyway, oh god. At number 4, we have the Yes album. Here at number 4, we have the Yes album. This is pretty much the exact same lineup, except there's no Rick Wakeman. But honestly, I think that that is better for these songs. I think the songs they wrote are better suited for Tony Kaye. Although Tony Kaye can't be found as much on this album as the first 2. But yeah, this song is great and has some amazing songs. They're staple songs, pretty much. Some of their staple songs that they play over and 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 over at their live shows is Years of Snow Disgrace, Years of No Disgrace, Starship Trooper, I've Seen All Good People, and Perpetual Change. These 4 songs are the highlights of this album, and definitely classics that you should listen to over and over and over and over and over again, because they're amazing. Clap is okay. It's not great. I kind of find it to be a bit boring, and I definitely like Mood for a Day better than Clap. And Adventure is pretty cool. It's a fine song. I think Adventure is more in line with Time and a Word than it is this album, but I still think it's great. Now on number 3, before we move on to the top 3, I just want to say that number 2 and 3 were very difficult to choose from, and I kind of almost wanted to pick them as both number 2, because they're both amazing, but I thought you can only choose one. You can't choose both. Number 1 was easy. Number 2 and 3, I went back and forth a lot until I finally settled on, okay, I need to look at each song and figure out what's the better album overall. And I ended up at number 3 going with Talk. Now, a lot of people might not even know this album. I have it on CD because if you were to want to get it on vinyl, you would have to pay like $200. I'm not doing that yet. Maybe I will do that sometime. Because this is one of the greatest albums by Yes. It's the 3rd greatest even. But yeah, this album, awesome. Trevor Rabin just... The Trevor Rabin lineup just kills this album. The Calling, I Am Waiting, Real Love, State of Play, Endless Dream. Oh my god, these 5 songs are awesome. Especially Endless Dream does fight for the number 1 Yes song, along with Awaken and Close at the Edge, and a few others. But I really have to give it to Awaken. But Endless Dream is still amazing. Endless Dream, Walls and Where Will You Be are definitely the 2 weaker songs, and I think that's the overall consensus with Yes fans, is that this album has 4 awesome songs to start off, then Walls and Where Will You Be are kind of meh. I still like both of them, but they're not amazing. And then Endless Dream being so good. And kind of reminding me of Dream Theater. Silent Spring, the first part, that's pretty Dream Theater-y, in my opinion. And this was before Dream Theater really got established. I mean, this was 1994, where they had already released Images and Words, but which I have right here. But this was really before Dream Theater really got their signature sound of progginess. But anyway, not enough about Dream Theater. This is a freaking Yes ranking. This album is great. A lot of people might not know about it because it's not on streaming services, which is very sad. Yes, please. It would just please. You you can, please, we won't criticize you anymore about continuing on when the only band member that's been there for a while is Steve Howe left. If you just give us talk on streaming services, please. Do you know how hard it is to find copies of this? Yeah, very difficult. I had to search for quite a while for this, but I found it, and I love it to death. It is on YouTube if you want to go watch. If you want to go listen to the whole album, it's on YouTube. So, yeah. So number 2, as I was telling you, number 2 and number 3 were pretty difficult, and I had to go back and forth a lot. But in the end, I had to choose the stronger album, and that stronger album after the battle ended up being Magnification. Yes, Magnification and Talk are number 2 and 3. This is a very good album. It's almost this. You know, I love this album so much. I've listened to it like dozens of times, and I still love it. Yes, I have it on vinyl. It's 3 sides. It's there's side A, side B, and side C. I was gonna show you what side D of the record looks like, but I'm not going to. I'm too lazy. This album, I feel, is their most conceptual concept album. Now, I know Tales, to a degree, was a concept album. This, it feels like a concept album, too. A lot of these songs link in a way. Like, Magnification sets the whole theme of this album in a great way with a great chorus. Spirit of Survival, he's talking about magnifying the love. That's what this album is about. This album is basically about love and stuff like that. And there's also these weird things that appear throughout the CD booklet of the album. I have the CD as well and the vinyl, but I showed the vinyl instead because the CD is downstairs. But the booklet has kind of ties more into the concept than the actual album does, but this album, Dreamtime and In the Presence Of, oh my god, those songs are great. Yes, this album, Soft as a Dove and Time is Time are the 2 songs on this album that I'm not too big of a fan of. Soft as a Dove especially, but every other song on this, every song besides those 2 on this album are just brilliant and brilliant and brilliant. This is one of Yes's greatest albums of all time, and one of the greatest albums of all time. And now we come to number 1. Now, I'm sure either by process of elimination, or just knowing the general consensus of what number 1 Yes albums are in the Yes fan base, you can probably tell that number 1 is gonna be Close to the Edge. You see, this is one of those albums that is kind of like, what's a good example that I can put to this? It's like, this is almost like you almost have to put this at number 1 for your Yes album rankings, unless you want to be killed. And now I'm not saying that I actually like Magnification more than this, and I'm just putting this up here because I had nowhere else to put it. That's not why I put it up here. I put it up here because it's number 1. But, honestly, I'm not sure if it's number 1. Magnification and Talk are just that good. To be honest, I was very considering putting Magnification and or Talk at number 1. Because they're just that good, and I've heard this album so many times that those albums I haven't heard so many times stand out to me more. But I just can't. I have to put this at number 1. It's just... This album is the Yes album. It's not. We're not talking. No. This isn't the Yes album. This is the Yes album. This is the if you stop someone on the street and ask, hey, name me a Yes song / album, they're either gonna say Fragile or Close to the Edge. But if it's a song, they're gonna say something from Close to the Edge, whether it be Annie and I, Close to the Edge, or Siberian Cat True. 3 songs, 3 masterpieces. Close to the Edge is one of my favorite Yes songs, of course, as pretty much every other Yes fan. Annie and I as well. Siberian Cat True is the weakest song on the album, but I still think it works great. Although it's kind of interesting how they put Siberian Cat True at the last place Come on, guys. You always open your shows with Siberian Cat True. Why would you put it at the last? I mean, I know that this came out before they played Siberian Cat True on every other show until right now, but I still think that it's great. And I've actually been wondering, now that they're doing a Close to the Edge 50th anniversary tour where they play this entire album, they can't start with Siberian Cat True unless they want to play, because then it wouldn't be in chronological order of the album. So I'm wondering what they're going to start with on those albums. Anyways, this album, masterpiece. It's one of the worst Yes album covers, but it's one of the best. It's the best Yes album for many reasons, and it just has it's like Dark Side of the Moon. We'll put that. Even though I think Animals and Wish You Were Here are better than Dark Side of the Moon, Dark Side of the Moon is just kind of the album. It's the album that you put at number 1. It's the album you put at number 1 to symbolize, hey, I know this means everything to everyone, and so I'm going to put it here. With that being said, there was my Yes album ranking. Now, you guys probably disagree with 90% of it, so I would love to hear your ranking in the comment section down below. And if you want a real indication of what my favorite Yes album actually is, it's Yes Songs. Yes Songs is my favorite Yes album. It's better than Close to the Edge. It has pretty much all their best songs from this era. It pretty much has every masterpiece from Fragile, Close to the Edge, and the Yes album. And it has the best versions of a lot of these songs. It has the best version of Perpetual Change, the best version of Roundabout, the best version of Seeing Uncle People, the best version of The Fish, the best version of Close to the Edge, the best version of Yours Is No Disgrace. It's just a great album, and I think this is the best. This is the best Yes album, but I'm only counting studio albums in this, so I couldn't put this in. So this is just an honorable mention. This is my favorite Yes album. So yeah, took a lot longer than I was expecting, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then please leave a like and subscribe. We're almost at 500 subscribers. And if you made it this far, I'm going to give you a hint. The next song name video, the song name videos I do, will be of Yes. It's another reason why I did this is because I was listening through all their albums for the song name video, and I thought, hey, I should make an album ranking, and then Alan White died. But that's going to be my next one, so look out for that if you made it this far. I would love to hear your Yes album ranking in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!